Jimmy B. Fearless from Hear Me Out. Thank y'all for coming to watch the channel, man. I want to talk about the NFL free agency period. This NFL free agency period, personally, I feel like has been one of the craziest that I remember. There's been a lot of players that got traded, a lot of quarterbacks and running backs, wide receivers, a whole bunch of cornerbacks that have just went to different teams. This has been a crazy ass free agency period. And the crazy part is that these signings are really going to affect this year's draft. And I know you're like, well, that's every year. But this year in particular is really going to change some things. So let's go ahead and get started. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. But for real, if you want more content like this, please make sure you subscribe because the algorithm gets pushed out to other people. If you listen to it on the podcast, please make sure you rate us. Make sure you leave a comment and let us know what you want us to talk about next. All right. I want to go ahead and start with the Atlanta Falcons. I know that's weird, but to me, I feel like starting with Kirk Cousins signing was a big domino that helped change the landscape of this free agency period. So Kirk signed a 4-year, $180 million contract. You know, Kirk's a big dude in like the church, right? He's a Christian. He talks about his faith openly. And he said that his faith is the reason why he has faith in himself to go ahead and, you know, sign these like short-term deals for big money. He ain't lying. Jesus is real because this dude, I think he's at like almost 500 million in total earnings. And he's coming off an ACL injury and he's signing with Atlanta Falcons. And he signed with Atlanta because he said that he loves their future prospects and how they're building the team. And it makes sense. They traded for Rondell Moore. They already have, then they signed Darnell Mooney from the Bears, and they re-signed Hodge. They have a bunch of talent. Not to mention, you know, they got, you know, Bijan Robinson out there. This team is ready to go. And the NFC South is weak relative to the other divisions, right? I know they got Baker Mayfield in that division, but if you look at it, they got Baker Mayfield, Drew Brees, and they got Bryce Young. And if you watch Bryce Young, you don't think that he is a quarterback that can make it. I'm 5 foot. I'm short as the devil. He my height in terms of NFL world. So when you short and you look at him like you don't know Bryce Young gonna be able to make it, I feel like Kirk Cousins automatically became the best quarterback in that division. So he's gonna go in there with all of this talent and probably gonna dominate. Also, they got Ray McCloud, which I think is more like a special team type dude, but they have a ton of weapons. And you know, Justin Jefferson, you never know. Depending on how the Vikings look, man, because we don't know who the hell that quarterback is. Depending on how the Vikings look, maybe they let go or trade, and Atlanta Falcons trade, maybe a first or something for the boy. Atlanta Falcons, they set up. I feel like Kirk Cousins, he knows how to run an offense. He's professional. He's going to give you 30 touchdowns minimum. You know, he's going to throw he's going to throw the ball. And they're going to center that offense around him. But Kirk can work in that West Coast style offense, man. And it's going to be predicated on the run because that's what he likes. Atlanta Falcons, they got to steal. The next big one that we need to go ahead and talk about, and I'm not just talking about no damn just, you know, wide receivers and quarterbacks. I want to talk about some big moves. I want to talk about the Bears. And the reason why is because, first of all, we know now definitively that they're drafting Caleb Williams with the #1 overall pick. And the reason why we say that is because they traded Justin Fields to the Steelers a couple of days ago. So now the Steelers, I guess I'm talking about the Browns and the Steelers the Steelers and the Bears at the same time. The Steelers signed Russell Wilson. They signed him to technically a 1-year deal for like league minimum. Because, as y'all probably know, Denver's paying, $85 million of the remaining amount of his contract, and that's dead money for Denver. So they ain't do shit in free agency. Denver didn't do anything. But the Steelers been linked to Justin Fields. So the fact that the Steelers got Russell Wilson for nothing and then traded for Justin Fields for a 6th overall pick, It's, to me, highway robbery, but in a good way. Because it kind of does work out for both sides, because you can't have Justin Fields still be in the Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams there. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. And now the Steelers are set up to have 2 cracks at an elite quarterback. If Russell works out, you don't really got to pay him nothing for a couple years. And if he doesn't, you could check out Justin Fields. And if not, if neither one of those work out, even though I don't want them to, they can get off Mike Tomlin. They can get off both of these dudes with no problems, right? And they can start over. Chess, not checkers for the Steelers. Give them their respect. But let's talk about the Chicago Bears and what they did. They got Keenan Allen in a trade from the Chargers. I think that is such a smart move. With DJ Moore already being there as well, you basically have 2 number 1 wide receivers. You can draft additional wide receivers because they lost Mooney and continue to build this team out. And you have veteran wide receivers for Caleb Williams. And he has top talent. This is the best wide receiver talent they've had in years. Oh, they also signed DeAndre Swift. Come on, man. Let's look at some other things they did as well. Dante Pettis, got him. I like him. I like his game. Good slot dude, good in special teams. We signed Jalen Johnson. Got Kevin Bird. Gerald Everett. That's a good one in the tight end department. They started to continue to build up that offensive line. They had a hell of a free agency. They're going to get the number 1 pick. And then they also still had the number 9 pick as well. So they're probably going to draft a defensive end. Because you remember they got Montez Sweat, and they paid him already. Yo, Chicago Bears might be good next year, man. I'm not saying they're going to be like CJ Stroud, Washington, or Houston Texans S. But if Caleb Williams comes in with I'm talking about half of the talent and drive that we saw from CJ Stroud. Remember, CJ ain't throw an interception for like the first 5 weeks or something. You are going to see the Bears be a good team because that division got the Vikings in it. We don't know who their quarterback is, right? They got the Packers, which we think is going to be good, but Jordan Love is his first year starting, so we don't know for sure. Come on, Martin. Hey, Martin. It's Martin. Everybody say, hey, Martin, say hi, everybody. Martin. Right? Then you got the Detroit Lions. Now, Detroit Lions, I expect for them to be good for a generation. But at the same time, between time, sophomore slumps, they lost hectic in the playoffs. You never know. So Chicago Bears, they can make some noise, man. They can make some noise. And they probably going to have a weak schedule because of how bad they've been. All right. Let's talk about the Packers. They re-signed A.J. Dillon. I think that's a good idea. They signed Josh Jacobs to a 4-year, $48 million deal. Josh Jacobs? Well, they let go of Aaron. Right? They let go, or not Aaron. What's their running back called? Y'all let me know in the comments. I forgot that dude's name. I thought it was Aaron. Aaron Jones, yeah. They let go of Aaron Jones. So Aaron Jones is gone. So now they got Josh Jacobs, and they gave Xavier McKinney a 4-year, $68 million deal. The Packers got bread. They have free agency money available because they're not paying anybody. They're not paying any wide receivers yet. They're not paying their quarterback yet. They let go of a lot of their older, defensive players. This is going to be a young team. I really like the Packers. They're going to be a young team. I cannot wait to see what Love become. I feel like Love, this playoff experience is going to lead him to continue to get better. It's going to be dope. It's going to be good. Detroit Lions, they do a lot. They didn't do a lot, but I just wanted to talk about, they signed DJ Reader and they traded for Carlton Davis. So they doing some good things. I really do like that. Now, let's talk about a team that you probably don't expect. Why would we talk about this free agency? We'll talk about the Giants. Brian Daboll, a while ago, was seen as probably one of the best coaching hires after what he did with Buffalo Bills and kind of transforming Josh Allen. Last year, the Giants lost after going to the playoffs the year prior, but last year, they had some slumps. Ton of injuries yet again. They fumbled the Saquon Barkley trade or signing. Daniel Jones, giving him that contract, even though it wasn't a lot, was still weird because he doesn't play well at all, and we kind of all know that. So what they decided to do after, all the turmoil, they saying that the coach is lame duck coach, which is crazy. People don't like Dayball because they say too hard. They said, hey, we're going to go ahead and give Drew Lock a 1-year deal, and supposedly told Drew Lock that he has a chance to be a starter. They told Drew Lock he has a chance to be a starter. It was coming out, Rich Eisen's show, they reported it. First Take, they talked about it as well. They are done with Daniel Jones in the Giants organization. They traded for Brian Burns. So the team is focused really on defense because they know that the only way that they're going to personally make it to the playoffs is if that defense is hellish. And it should be. I think their defense is awesome. Giants defense is just like it used to be back in the day. They just young. But what are you going to do at running back and what you going to do at quarterback? They signed Devin Singletary. I'm not saying Saquon Barkley was the best running back in the league. He kept getting injured and he wanted like CMC money and no. But what are they going to do? In the comments below, if you're a Giants fan or even if you're not just interested, what do you think? Because I personally feel like they need to go ahead and draft a quarterback and they need to probably move up in the draft to get one. Because this is ridiculous, man. Could they trade with the Patriots for the 3rd pick? Why not? Get somebody. Daniel Jones is not it. He's never been it. And I don't want Dayball to go because Dayball's a really good coach. That boy know how to coach offense, man. Weird days going on in the NFC East, man. And the reason why I go back to saying weird days is because the Philadelphia Eagles traded for Kenny Pickett and they signed Saquon Barkley. I didn't even notice they got Devontae Parker. The Eagles lost Cox this year and they lost Kelsey. They lost basically their 2 stalwarts on the offensive line and the defensive line. They're 2 veterans. This team still has a lot of veterans. A lot of these players already went to the Super Bowl. I think getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson back was key because he fits Philly. And then getting Bryce Huff there was amazing. Re-signing Brandon Graham, still having that veteran presence. Getting Matt Hennessy, I think, was a good idea, too. I like Matt Hennessy. Getting Devin White. But Saquon Barkley and Kenny Pickett. As a person that's from Delaware, I've been around and or a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles all my life. I'm a Browns fan, but I'm from there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always in tune with what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts has been injured, I personally believe, for the past 2 years. I don't know what it is. But I don't think like we haven't heard any reports of him getting off-season surgery, but it seems as if he needs it. He had a down year compared to his year where he almost won the MVP the previous year. Still a playoff team, but they got their ass whipped by Tampa Bay. You can tell they wasn't the same. I bring all that up to say, you are bugging if you don't think that this Kenny Pickett trade is more than just like, oh, we just want depth at the quarterback position. You're bugging. Eagles fans know that if Jalen doesn't perform well, they will sit his ass quick and they will start Kenny Pickett. And remember, A.J. Brown and Skinny Batman were screaming at Jalen Hurts at the end of the year. The coach almost got fired. This close. They will pull the plug on Jalen Hurts. They don't give a fuck how much they paid him. Remember Carson Wentz, y'all? Remember Carson Wentz? They don't care. They don't care. their GM does not care. He's going to do whatever he can to put his team in the best position to win it. And it doesn't matter what your name is or how popular you are. He don't give a fuck about none of your commercials. None. Jalen Hurts, bro, watch out, bro. Bro, watch out. He is not superstar status yet, bro. Not yet. All right. Dallas Cowboys, they ain't do jack. They signed Eric Kendricks. Cowboys. What happened to all in, Jerry? I'm in Dallas. Jerry Jones said, we're going all in. I don't think he know what that means. You know what I mean? All in mean I'm going to get Saquon because we ain't got no running backs. I'm going to get Gardner Minshew to be my backup. I'm going to sign Jaquan Brown. I'm getting Christian Wilkinson. I'm doing it all, bro. I'm restructuring everybody. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. I'm trading who, whoop, 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 de whoop. What all in mean for the Cowboys is that we're just going to stay pat. We're going to let Dak pay out his contract again and then see what happens. If he plays out his contract and he look like shit, fuck him. We're going to go with Trey Lance or whoever. But if everything is everything and everything shake the way it's supposed to shake, then we'll go ahead and give him a good deal. What are we doing? Cowboys, is the deal that y'all win the bowl next year when CeeDee Lamb's peoples and Micah Parsons' peoples was on Facebook talking about Dak Prescott ain't it, he a clown, he ain't a winner. This is the solution for Earth's pollution? Is this? Nothing. They ain't do nothing yet. Get Mike Williams, get OBJ, do something. Like, ain't shit shaking but the leaves in the trees with the Cowboys right now. And the crazy thing is the team is so good, they still might win the division. All right. The Raiders, Gardner Minshew. That's who they signed to be their starting quarterback. They got Gardner Minshew and they got AOC. No, not the political one, y'all. I'm talking about Aiden O'Connell. So having Aiden O'Connell in the Raiders and Gardner Minshew, I think they're going to really fight for like who's going to be the starting quarterback. They also got Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins because the Dolphins can't re-sign nobody because they have terrible cap situation. But the Raiders solidifying that defensive line. They have a defensive head coach. I feel like Gardner Minshew was a really secretive signing that was really dope. Hear me out. Even if they draft a quarterback, Gardner can still play because you remember last year, Anthony Richardson got injured, but they were talking about like Gardner might play. You know what I mean? But you got to start Anthony, right? But he almost led them to the playoffs. Gardner is good enough to be a almost fringe level quarterback. So he's like I would say he's like, I don't know, 15th ranked quarterback in the league. Gardner Minshew, though, which is kind of funny because they should have just kept Derek Carr if you're going to keep Gardner Minshew, but Gardner Minshew don't want no money. But here nor there. Gardner Minshew, though, fits the aesthetics of the Raiders. Now, some people don't think that shit matters. Some people think like, oh, well, just because the Bears are historically like this grind them out team, they're supposed to be like a defensive team, they need to get with the new age. And you can see the Bears are doing that now. But the fan base is what matters because the fan base is going to pay that money to come. They're in Vegas. You still got motherfuckers flying from Oakland to Vegas to go watch these motherfuckers, right? Hella fans everywhere they go. Gardner Minshew fits this team. He's kind of to me like Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield. Tampa Bay has always been like, people call them the Succaneers, not the Buccaneers, because they were terrible for years, bro. He fits that chip on my shoulder, underdog. We coming back because of after Brady leaving, like that type of like underdog mentality. Gardner fits that because he's always been an underdog. And to be truth be told, if you look at Gardner Minshew's stats, since the Jaguars drafted Trevor Lawrence, they should have just fucking kept Gardner Minshew. I know the game politically, that don't work like that. The NFL don't work like that. Trevor Lawrence is way more well-known and more recognizable than Gardner. But Gardner Minshew has his own style. He has his own flair. He's a bro. He fits with the Raiders. Because Raiders, their whole thing is bros. I mean, look at Mark Davis, man. That motherfucker look crazy. That's a crazy-looking dude. He still got the fucking bowl cut. 2025, 4, whatever fuck it is. I feel like Gardner fits. I know it's like, why we talk about that? That's not a big sign of shit. To me, it is. The Chiefs, they re-signed Chris Jones, beautiful. Re-signed Tranquil, Harton, Nadi. They gave Snead a franchise tag. And then they got Marquise Brown. I think that's a really good signing. They got Irv Smith, which is crazy as a tight end, but whatever, more weapons for the GOAT, the current GOAT. I don't see why this team won't three-peat. I would just mention that they probably still going to draft a wide receiver or maybe another corner, because this team really has the best young defense in the league. And re-signing Chris to, biggest defensive tackle contract ever is like amazing to me. So this team is solidified, and this defense is going to continue to be solidified, and they re-signed most of their big name, defensive players. I just hope that they keep L'Jarius Sneed, because he's a really good player. He's worth $19 million if they keep him on the tag. He's worth 19. Next up, Denver Broncos. They ain't do jack. That's all I got to say about them. They let go of Russell Wilson. They don't have any quarterbacks. They let go of Jared Jeudy, traded him to my favorite team, the Browns. They don't have no money. I don't know what the hell the Denver Broncos are going to do, but I will say this. If Sean Payton can get the Denver Broncos to 10 wins next year, they might give him a 4-year extension, because this team is going to be shitty for the next 2 years. No problem. Guaranteed. It's over. Cap situation is bonkers. They got to go. They probably going to either start Jarrett Stidham, which is crazy, or they're going to draft like J.J. McCarthy, which also is crazy. Now, quick side note, I watched the Combine, and I will be doing a mock draft coming up soon. I watched the Combine. J.J. McCarthy looked like shit. Everybody, like the commentators and everybody online, was just like, oh, the wide receivers weren't catching the balls. Yeah, you got to throw the motherfucker on point. Accuracy is key, homie. Is it just me? I think J.J. McCarthy is extremely overrated. I'm going to watch his tape. But what I saw was bad. It was real bad. But I'm going to watch the tape before I make a decision. But a lot of people was thinking that the Denver Broncos are going to draft J.J. McCarthy. Whatever. All right, Tennessee Titans. They got Mason Rudolph, Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, Kenneth Murray, and they signed Awuzie to $36 million. The cornerback. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Hope so. Shit. All that stuff is important. The reason why it's important is because Will Levis is expected to be, the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Tannehill's gone. He has not signed with the team yet, which to me is stupid. And Mike Vrabel, of course, is gone. Mike Vrabel is now assistant for the Browns. Whatever. Mason Rudolph could easily start if Will Levis is not good. And the crazy part is that you might think that's like, some bull. But Mason Rudolph was really good last year when it comes to the playoffs. He was really good. He on a 1-year, $287 million deal. Nothing. But with Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, they still got Hopkins. Do not be surprised if this team is really good. Borderline good. 9-win team. You got a new head coach, new GM. It's a lot. But don't be surprised if Mason Rudolph doesn't win. And I don't think that free agent quarterbacks really consider the Tennessee Titans like that. But I don't see why any of them have been like, I I mean, if I was Gardner Minshew, I would have tried to go there because he can beat Will Levis out, I think. But you don't know. Jacksonville Jaguars, they traded for Mac Jones. Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson. All of those, like besides Trey and still Trey, have underachieved. That's like one of the really bad quarterback drafts now. Really bad quarterback drafts. I mean, it's real bad. Like, I think one of the worst is 2022, right? Only person that we had was Brock Purdy that really like did shit. Because like all those other guys got traded. When it comes to this quarterback draft, Mac Jones is now holding the clipboard for Trevor Lawrence, and that's crazy. That's weird. That is psycho. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, they did get Gabe Davis. I don't think that's a good signing. He drops a lot of balls, man. Devin Duvernay, they got him. I think that's a good signing, but was that Lamar Jackson making him look good? We don't know. We're going to find the fuck out. And they also signed Dearness Johnson. Cool. But they got Eric Armstead to a 3-year deal, and they did the franchise tag with Jason Allen. Josh Allen. They need to go ahead and pay Josh Allen. But Armstead does help, solidify that line. I think Jaguars are going to have a tough time this year trying to win this division. I feel like their opening was last year because the Houston Texans are those boys. The Houston Texans proved last year that they can play. And this year, since everyone's on rookie contracts, they did a lot. They probably had one of the best free agencies. They had Joe Mixon, traded with the Bengals for him. That's crazy. They got Dalton Schultz. They re-signed him because he was amazing this year. Noah Brown, re-signed him. But then look what they did on the defensive side. Danielle Hunter. They got him on the edge. So now you got Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter on the edge. Then look at their linebacking core. They got Phillips and they got Al Shashir. He was with the Dolphins, I believe. They gave him a 3-year deal. They got Jeff Okudah, signed him. That's a good cornerback now. They re-signed King. They got Lonnie Johnson. They signed him to a 1-year contract. They got Eric Murray, or they re-signed Eric Murray. And they got they re-signed Charlie Heck on a 1 year. This team took care of some of the guys that need to take care of, got some good dudes. Really, that Hunter signing, to me, truly does help Will Anderson continue to develop because he has a veteran end to help him with more moves and to help him push as well. Because Will Anderson is the next, I'm not going to say he's the next TJ, but I'm going to say he's the next Myles Garrett. He is going to, and also, quick aside, nobody actually has signed Young yet. Young, the defensive end, I think it's number two pick. No one signed him yet. That's bugged out. Anyway, this here is going to help Will Anderson. That defensive line going to be stout, man. That defensive line's a problem. They building up that defense, and they still have a good pick in this year's draft. Yeah, the Houston Texans are going to be a problem. We talked about Pittsburgh Steelers. They got Justin Fields. They also signed Patrick Queen. They got Dante Jackson as well in the Deontay Johnson trade. They traded Dante Johnson to the Panthers, which I thought was a good pick. That was good. So, the Steelers are weird. They might be a really good team this year, or they might be sorry. I still think they should draft a quarterback, 3rd round, 4th round. Personal opinion, I think they should get Joe Milton. His ball accuracy in college last year and in the combine was really elite. Only problem with him is that he's 25. So he is at his ceiling. He ain't getting better. He's him. So I feel like that would be a good signing, but they probably get him in he might be undrafted. But I already talked a lot about the Steelers, so I'm not going to talk about them. I'm going to talk about the Browns, though. Jameis Winston signed as the backup, replacing Joe Flacco. the comeback player of the year. And the Browns also got Jerry Jeudy. And they re-signed Darius Smith. They re-signed their defensive tackles, and they got Devin Bush and Jordan Hicks. Crazy. But I want to talk about Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston said that the reason why he signed with the Browns is because he thought that they were a Super Bowl team, and he wants to win a Super Bowl, and he thinks he can help lead them there. Basically, something like that. Paraphrasing. And I was like, as a Browns fan, I'm like, why did we bring in, crab legs, eat W's goofy? He's a goofy. But then I thought about it like, people was thinking that Joe Flacco should start next year. You got to get that shit up out of there. Joe Flacco old. He good, but he also threw like 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. At least he threw 12 touchdowns. But you get Jameis Winston in here, he's another type of personality. People love him, though. In the locker room, people love that boy. But the truth is that he might start more than we expect. Don't be surprised if Jameis Winston starts 10 games next year. Don't be surprised, bro. I do not believe in Watson at all. I don't believe in Watson. And I'm a Browns fan. I do not think that he has not played consistent football for 4 years. That's a long time. That's a long time in between time. That's a long time, bro. Jameis has played every year. Not all the games, but a couple of games. Excuse me, y'all. Cold. I don't know, man. This Jerry Jeudy pick, I think that's good. Jerry Jeudy totally underperformed for the Broncos since he got drafted. He had problems with Steve Smith issues. He needed a fresh start. And he's having Amari Cooper there with him, I think offers him a fresh start. And I love the fact that Amari could, help him, get him together. And then Jerry Jeudy, which the Browns have been trying to trade for years, actually, believe it or not. Jerry Jeudy can go ahead and possibly replace Amari Cooper when Amari Cooper retires or, he gets to that third contract and won't pay him. Bengals, they got Zach Moss. And they put a franchise tag on T. Higgins. I can't believe that they lost Joe Mixon. It's like an end of an era to me. I don't know. I think Tyler Boyd is gone as well. And he hasn't signed anywhere. It's like an end of an era. Like they were there before Joe Burrow got there. Before Chase got there. Before the playoffs. When they were still a shitty-ass team. So to me, it's sad. It's sad to see. But Zach Moss is good. I guess. I think it's going to help. They did get Sheldon Rankins. That's not going to be good for the Browns. And they got Geno Stone, which is weird. They got Geno Stone from the Ravens. So, Bengals didn't do a lot. All right. Big more news. I'm trying to spread it out. The Ravens, they got Derrick Henry. Okay. Let's unpack this a little bit. I don't know why the Ravens didn't make it to the Super Bowl last year. They did not run the ball. Now, that could also be due to the simple fact that the Chiefs' defense is probably the most underrated defense we've seen in the past 10 years. The defense won the Chiefs this Super Bowl, right? But the Ravens, I still believe, should have still won that game because the Ravens have an elite offensive concept, but they just went away from it. And it's not a running concept. It's more like a play action concept, but it's not play action. That's which is weird. They are West Coast run the team. They run the ball. Excuse me, y'all. Derrick Henry is going to, I think, help continue to make this a running team. You can still have Lamar Jackson run. Derrick Henry is going to probably 3 times next year run a big 80-yard pass. But Derrick Henry is going to probably average 80 yards a game. They have had a lot of problems for the Baltimore Ravens in terms of running. They got their wide receiver problem finally figured out. Their tight end, that's been solved. But the running back thing is a problem. And signing Derrick Henry, certainly if he is hungry and determined to win one, this might push them over the top. Getting Nelson Aguilar, that also helps as well. Re-signing defensive end, they lost some good defensive players. I really feel like the Baltimore Ravens last year was their year, man. Because the Ravens definitely could have beat the 49ers, in my opinion. They beat them in the regular season, destroyed them. I don't know why in the hell they lost that game to the Chiefs, but this helps so much. This helps so much. Baby, can you tell Sheba shut up? Sheba, shut up now. But there's only one main problem with the Ravens next year being able to make a long playoff push and win the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's coming back. Hopefully he stays healthy. Russell Wilson, what about if he's actually good? He wasn't bad last year. And the Steelers always make the playoffs, always have a winning record. And then the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns were cursed last year with injuries. Nick Chubb's coming back. Watson should be back. And now we got Jameis, I guess, whatever, fuck ever. Jared Judy. So they're more dynamic. The Ravens, man, their window might have closed that quick. Hopefully Derrick Henry helps extend it. I'm hoping that Derrick Henry does. I'm a Browns fan, so I don't want the motherfucking Ravens to win, obviously. But if they do, I don't know. I still want Lamar to win one. And I feel like Derrick Henry can definitely help provide that. And there's no other player that I know of, maybe besides like Bosa's and, you know, that's it. Like the Bosa's, maybe, a couple of dudes play for the 49ers. Those are the only guys I can consider that are more born to be a Raven than Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was born to be a Baltimore Raven. Born to be a Baltimore Raven. All right. Not a lot of other things that was crazy that happened. We talk about the Atlanta Falcons. We talk about the fact that the Patriots, they traded Mac. The Patriots also don't have wide receiver no more. For some reason, they re-signed Kendrick Bourne. I'm like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm not like y'all need to. I know Bill is gone, but do they have like a GM yet? Like Jerome Mayo, of course, is the head coach. But like who is like the GM? Like, what are these moves? Like, they have a hella cap space. I mean, they signed Sione Takitaki, Kyle Duggar, put him on a tag. Anthony, they did some good moves. I think they did some good moves, but they didn't do anything in terms of solidifying, like, who's going to be their starting quarterback. Why didn't they go after Kurt? I don't know why they didn't, but why didn't they go after Kurt? Why didn't they go after Russell? I mean, signing Jacoby Brissett, I think, is a good idea, but now y'all don't have a quarterback. And this team needs to continue to build. And they're probably going to be amazing defensively, but offensively, they still not signing top wide receivers. Like, they could have tried to get Keenan Allen. They could have tried to get, like, anybody, man, in terms of wide receiver. And I know this draft has a lot of wide receivers in it, but they're not historically good at that. Maybe that's going to change because Bill is gone. I don't know, but the Patriots, man, this is a piss poor job. Piss poor. Piss poor. Buffalo Bills didn't do a lot. I will say that they signed some guys. They signed Epinesa back. They gave Curtis Samuel 3 years, $30 million. Sure. They lost Gabe Davis, so I guess that makes sense. They got Mac Hollins. All right, cool. They brought back Mitch Trubisky. But Diggs put on Twitter, like, whatever happens, happens. Oh, God. Are y'all trading him or is he getting cut? What's going on with Diggs? Y'all don't have another wide receiver. Y'all don't have a number one wide receiver. And Curtis Samuel is not a number one wide receiver. What is about to happen with y'all? Shit, man. Damn. This is a problem, bro. Like, Josh Allen's prime is being wasted. Y'all need another wide receiver. Bad. got to do something in the draft. I hope Diggs don't go, but Diggs might go. So, y'all, let me know if I missed something. Let me know if a team I didn't cover that you wanted me to cover. I think I touched on all the big news, all the crazy news. But let me know in the comments below if there's something else I should cover. Thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Bless you. We are going to be doing a mock draft that's going to consider the combine and free agency. And I feel like it's going to be a crazy ass mock draft. We're going to probably do the first round for each teams. We're going to do one of the mock simulators. Let me know if this is something that you guys like, us just talking, just willing and dealing. Make sure you like. Please make sure you subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And also, if you're listening on the podcast network, make sure you rate us and also leave a comment there if you can. We appreciate you. Much love. Jimmy B. Fearless. Hear me out.